Jyotiraditya Scindia, Vasundhara Raje, Yaduvir Krishnadatta Chamaraj Vadiyar, and Praneeth Kaur are some of the descendants of erstwhile royal families who are contesting on the BJP ticket.
Most political parties believe that it is easier to win a particular election if an erstwhile king or prince is the candidate. I don't know whether it's great for democracy or not, but it poses challenges to the party itself, because tomorrow a successor may not have that kind of an understanding of the pulse of the voters and may lose out.
What's the impact of fielding candidates from royal backgrounds, and is there a flip side to dynasty politics? We explain. Welcome to the Indian Express. I'm Charulata Biswas. Today in this video, we will explore the intricate and fascinating intersection of royalty and politics. And to talk more about this, I'm being joined by my colleague, Vikas Pathak, who will throw light on his recent report, which sheds light on how political parties are embracing dynasties and royalty across various states in India. Vikas, thank you so much for joining us and welcome.
Thank you.
All right, really fascinating report. So you've highlighted how the BJP has shifted towards embracing political dynasties and royalty in various states. Could you elaborate on the reasons behind this strategic move, if I can call that?
I would not say it is a shift per se, because even in the past, the BJP has had people from erstwhile ruling families who've been its candidates, be it in the Lok Sabha or in assembly polls. And this has been a routine practice, across many political parties in India to accommodate the former, princes, so to say. This practice, what happens is that they believe that princes have certain things that put them in an advantageous position, the former princes or kings. One is that they have local influence, they have got local networks. Those are traditional networks running into maybe 100 years or more. They have the money, of course, and that all these factors, the resources, the local network, the fact that they are visible faces in their constituency, makes them a bit more winnable compared to other candidates. So, for many other candidates, becoming a political leader requires years of hard work in politics and visibility in politics. But in the case of princes, they come with a prior image or a prior, a network of people who are loyal to them, and there's no dearth of resources. So for political parties, it becomes that seat becomes a bit easier. In the case of the princes themselves, of course, the princely states were abolished long ago after independence, and privy purses were also abolished around 1970. So in their case, there's always a sense of power that is lost. The only way to get back a semblance of that power or that kind of power now is to enter the electoral process, adapt to the electoral process, and become public representatives and hopefully ministers. So this is a kind of a symbiotic relationship between the political party and the erstwhile prince or king, and that is how it is. In fact, let me tell you another thing, that in the case of the BJP, it just makes a particular seat easier, right? Because the BJP is a cadre-based party. So the cadre is loyal to the Sangathan and not to any individual to a great extent, and certainly not to an individual who's just entered the party and got a ticket. In the case of the Congress, the relationship went deeper. The reason was that the Congress did not function as a cadre-based party for decades on end. The Congress was always a political party that had got certain lobbies or cliques. There were certain local leaders and their followers. In that case, sometimes the princes, when they became local leaders, they also had a camp of followers, because that is how the Congress was structured. Like, let me give you the example of Madhya Pradesh, for instance. There were camp followers of Jyotiraditya Scindia, of Digvijay Singh. So the structure of the party, as well as the very local influence of the erstwhile king or prince, they actually added up into each other. So in the case of the Congress, if a prince or a former prince or a titular Maharaj leaves the Congress, the damage is a bit more. In the case of the BJP, if an erstwhile king leaves the BJP, it is only that one constituency. But in the case of the Congress, for instance, when Jyotiraditya Scindia shifted from Congress to BJP, a number of people shifted along with him. So that is the difference. But most political parties believe that it is easier to win a particular election if an erstwhile king or prince is the candidate.
And in the past, you talked about how, a candidate from the royal background would have an advantage over, say, a candidate from an ordinary background. So this approach, BJP's approach, how do you see this, playing out? Because in the past, we've seen that the party has bashed Congress over dynasty politics.
Yeah. So look, there are two kinds of dynastic politics. Uh, Let me say that there's one that is dynastic politics in the sense that someone was a political leader, then that someone's son or daughter becomes a political leader. Uh, no party is free from it. Even Mr. Rajnath Singh's son is a political leader. He's an MLA in UP. So not that the BJP is free of it at all. But in many other parties, like most regional parties, the leadership has shrunk to a political family. That is how the party functions per se. DMK, for instance, Karunanidhi, then MK Stalin. Now MK Stalin is already grooming his son Udayanidhi Stalin. Look at the Udhav UB Shiv Sena UBT, son of Balasaheb Thackeray. Udhav son Aditya Thackeray also politically active. Look at NCP, for instance. It is the daughter Supriya Sule, daughter of Sharad Pawar. Then the nephew, who has now broken with the uncle Ajit Pawar. Look at Samajwadi Party. Look at RJD. So here, the link, the loyalty of the cadre is to the family. I mean, you cannot be a Samajwadi Party leader if you dislike Akhilesh Yadav or that family, right? So then there's no logic of you being in the party.
Interesting.
Gradually over time, the Congress is the only national party that actually became like that. This is primarily the regional party model. But in the case of the Indian National Congress, ever since the days of Indira Gandhi, it veered in that direction where loyalty to a particular family became more important than loyalty to the party, if one were to survive in the party for long. So the Congress is one national exception because BJP is still cadre based. The CPM is down in the dumps, but the CPM, till it had some influence, was again cadre based. It was not as if you were Jyoti Basu's son, you were a natural leader of the CPM. That would not happen. Similarly, here, LK Advani's son would have no natural claim to being the leader of the BJP. In regional parties, it always happened, and the Indian National Congress happened, to adopt that culture since the days of Indira Gandhi. So that is one dynastic politics, which is actually electoral process succeeding one's father or mother or father-in-law. That model is the dynastic politics that BJP is critical of. These are not really dynastic politics. If you see the princes per se, their dynasties got defunct in just after independence. Once kingship was abolished, they were no longer Maharajas. They just were titular Maharajas with no specific powers. So the dynasties that headed the princely states lost their power at that moment. But power can go at the drop of a hat, with one document being signed, one instrument of accession being signed. What does not go is the bond or the link between local notables in those erstwhile princely states and the Maharaja. So even today, if you go to Rajasthan, in many places, there are traditional families that say they had ties with the Jaipur royal family. Someone is a Diwan's son, someone was in the army, someone was a Thikanedar, a kind of a landholder loyal to the king. So those bonds with a significant section of the population continue because there's no law that can abolish that bond or royalty. Similarly, if you go to Gwalior or Guna, Jyotiraditya Scindia is called Maharaj there. Even on the street, people will call him Maharaj. So those bonds are what the political parties tap into, that these bonds will make this person a bit more winnable and the seat will become easier to win. That is the belief. But this is not necessarily dynastic politics. So it's not necessary that if Vishwaraj Singh Mewar is the Nathdwara MLA of the BJP, then his son has a claim to Nathdwara necessarily. That is not the rule. But in
Mm-hmm.
dynastic politics of the electoral kind, that becomes a default rule. In fact,
Mm.
parties have split because of a nephew not agreeing with the son. If you see both the Maharashtra parties, Raj Thackeray split with the and created the MNS split with the Shiv Sena originally because he did not want Udhav, but Udhav was the successor because he was the son of Bal Thackeray. Similarly, Ajit Pawar, the nephew, and Supriya Sule, the daughter. So in these are keenly contested. Like these are claims that are very keenly held. The same claim may not apply to a prince or an erstwhile prince or princess standing for one election. Next time you may not get the ticket, or your son may not have any right to
Right,
the ticket.
right.
That is the thing.
Because in both the models that you elaborated on so nicely with beautiful examples, what really for me what was the highlight was the loyalty factor that you spoke about, the loyalty from the cadre to a party or the leader, right? And also, the royal families, which have a kind of appeal in the region that they are in. Do you think this trend that you're talking about, or the models that you're talking about, is it good in a healthy democracy or the governance and in Indian politics in general? Because we saw, what happened in Maharashtra. So can
Yeah,
you talk a little bit about that, the loyalty factor and how crucial?
yeah. One, there are two aspects of it. One aspect, of course, is that you can democratize via law. The Indian Constitution has tried to democratize as much as possible, right? The very fact that we have freedom of speech and expression with some reasonable restrictions is also part of the fact that in a democracy, people are citizens, they have rights. And the right to equality also makes people normatively equal. So that is where the law acts. In our constitution itself, all titles and honors have been abolished by law. So the
Okay.
fact of the matter is, you cannot even officially call someone Padma Shri so and so. People sometimes do it on an invitation card, but officially you cannot attach a title apart from, say, military titles, like if you're a colonel or of whatever, a general, you'll be called general. If you have a PhD, maybe you can be called doctor. But the Maharajas and all those kinds of titles are not to be used officially. So the
Right.
constitution and the institutions themselves have tried their level best. But then that very constitution gives the citizen freedom of speech and expression. Now, supposing they are citizens who feel a kind of an emotional bond for a ruling family because they
Mm.
believe there was some golden past. They've heard from their grandparents that they were Rajwade hua karte the, they were princely states,
Mm.
and they feel that some kind of a glamour there, something exotic. Then,
Mm.
if that citizen decides to go and cast a vote in favor of an erstwhile prince, it may not be great for democracy, but then that is what democracy is. Democracy is not a camp to convert people necessarily to a particular view. It can encourage certain kinds of views, but it also permits people to kind of hold alternative views. So there might be people who are fascinated by kingship, and democracy, frankly, cannot do much about it. Now, the flip side of dynastic politics, and there, when I talk about the political dynasties, not the former princely dynasties. One
Right.
limitation is that in dynastic politics, a party may collapse if it is not cadre based. For instance, Mayawati's party. It was not even dynastic to that extent. It was basically one person party, Mayawati.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, Mayawati, made her nephew her successor, but it has been
Right.
a bit too late to do so. So, in this case, the loyalty, though the party has an ideology, but cadre loyalty per se, it's not even a cadre. Supporter loyalty is for a particular person. In that case, when the person becomes old or the person passes away, you might see that the party loses much of its heft. The other problem there is that
Right.
if you if you always look at lineage, then let us understand it. Every individual has got a different level of competence, a different level of communication, a different level of understanding of politics or the pulse of the masses. So the son or daughter, you can pass on, you can make your son or daughter the successor, but whether the son or daughter has a political acumen, will determine what happens to the party later. So Naveen Patnaik was the son of Biju Patnaik, but Naveen Patnaik has proved that he has the political acumen, so he survived, right? In the case of, say, the challenge is there with Uddhav Thackeray. Uddhav Thackeray seems to have slipped a bit because he does not seem to have that kind of a of control over the cadre or the workers of the party, or even that kind of an appeal or communication skill that Bala Sahib Thackeray had. The same challenge will now be faced by Supriya Sule. Sharad Pawar wants her to be the successor of Sharad Pawar. Can she be another Sharad Pawar in terms of ability? There will be a day when Sharad Pawar will no longer be there to guide her. Then she's on her own. So what dynastic politics forgets is that eventually there will be a day. Let us face it. Rahul Gandhi may not be Jawaharlal Nehru, even if he's great grandson of Jawaharlal Nehru. So how will you ensure you can have a succession plan that Jawaharlal Nehru, okay, that time the succession plan had not kicked in, very frankly. It was Lal Bahadur Shastri who was there in the interregnum. But then after that, Indira Gandhi, she was thinking of her son Sanjay as her successor. Sanjay passed away, so Rajiv became the successor. After Rajiv, Sonia became the successor, his wife. And after that, Rahul became the successor. Now, here the thing is, all of them may hold the same surname, but they have varying abilities to communicate with party workers, to communicate with the masses, to be able to think strategically. So, one limitation of this model of politics is that when you are too reliant on a person or a family without interchangeable cadre or replaceable cadre, then someday may come when a weak link will damage the party severely. You see the example of Jayalalitha's party. Because she was the sole leader, AIADMK is facing a bad situation in Tamil Nadu. So I would say that is the flip side. It is, in fact, I don't know whether it's great for democracy or not, but it poses challenges to the party itself, because tomorrow a successor may not have that kind of an understanding of the pulse of the voters and may lose out.
That brings me to the next question. This strategy, be it BJP or Congress, of fielding candidates with royal backgrounds, how is it going to impact the party's electoral prospects? And, if we look at broader political narrative.
Yeah, partly I have answered that question. In the case of the BJP, it is just making a seat safer. For example, in the Rajasthan Assembly elections, they fielded Vishwaraj Singh Mewar, who comes from the Mewar royal family. He has the brand name of Rana Pratap behind him. So he could defeat the Speaker of the Rajasthan Assembly, CP Joshi of the Congress. So it makes a seat easier. This is not always the norm. Let me remind you, because I remember in 1989 when the Congress had fielded Brigadier Bhavani Singh, who was the titular Maharaja of Jaipur. In Jaipur itself, in his own city, the Congress fielded him, and the BJP fielded Girdhari Lal Bhargav, who passed away some years ago, but he was a multiple time MP from the BJP. Girdhari Lal Bhargav was a common man, but he was very well known in the city for riding on a scooter. And if anyone had a problem, some office is not doing something, some official is acting truant, he would actually go on the scooter along with the person, along with the resident, and get things done. So Girdhari Lal Bhargav, due to his image, could defeat the Maharaja himself. So that is not a norm, but still it makes the seat easier. In the case of the Indian National Congress, it may have, deeper ramifications. As I said, the departure of Scindia from the Congress, eventually people are thinking it won't impact the election, but eventually it seems that in the assembly elections, the BJP has done better, because let us face it, the conventional belief is that in the Chambal division, the Scindias have enjoyed a traditional kind of an image, and if they swing in favor of one political party, there's a chance not just on one seat but on a few seats. So, well, that is all that it gets. It makes us winning a seat easier, especially a tough seat. If you field a Maharaja, that's what they've done. BJP has done against Mahua Moitra. So they want Mahua Moitra defeated. She was also expelled from Lok Sabha. She had been highly critical of the BJP. Then this cash for query happened. They have fielded Amrita Roy, Rajmata Amrita Roy of the Krishnanagar ruling family against her. The idea is to make things difficult, because Amrita Roy will have a conventional network that may swing a bit because she is the candidate.
Thank you so much, Vikas, for that interesting insight, and if you want to really dive deeper into, how this is going to, having fielding candidates with royal backgrounds, or, to understand more about dynastic politics, do read our latest report. The link is in our description. Thank you, Vikas, once again for joining us.
Thank you so much.